Republican Cherilyn Eagar has laced up her boxing gloves and climbed back into the political ring. This time she's seeking her party's nomination for Utah's 2nd congressional seat. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Bruce.
Forgive me, but as I've been reading up on you, somebody coined a phrase that keeps showing up in print, and that's Utah's Sarah Palin. How do you react to that?
Oh, that's, I don't know quite what to say about that. I think Sarah Palin came on the scene a couple of years ago, and she probably became a role model for women to have an energy to get in these kinds of races. And so that's probably what that was all about, because I was running in the Senate race at the time.
So I won't ask you to be Sarah Palin, but how would you define yourself politically?
Well, I think I'm solidly conservative, from the school board to the state legislature to Congress and even to the United Nations. I am the candidate in this race that does have a solid record advocating for limited government and constitutionally conservative principles, and I think that's what the American people are looking for right now.
Now, you got into this race quite a while ago. You were first in before Jim Matheson got out. Is that right? And you came out guns a-blazing against the 6th-term incumbent Jim Matheson. How does this change your race, your campaign, your reason for running?
Well, an open race is what we have now, but we do have a Democrat contender that's going to be joining, and so it's very important that we send to Congress right now people who have the strength and the fortitude and the background and experience that can go to Washington and do what needs to be done to reverse the damaging effects of a president that is sending this nation around the wrong turn in this bend of the road. And so we've got to get back on track and straighten it out.
You have a half-dozen fellow Republicans who are also seeking this nomination. What makes you different from them?
Well, I would say it is my experience, because I have been involved at all levels of government advocating, and I've won some good things throughout my life, and one of the most recent was the American Medical Association, of course, signed on to Obamacare, and they endorsed it, and so I went on the radio and did a couple of national conference calls, had thousands of people on the call, and I said, you've got to tell your doctors out there to withdraw their membership from this organization. They only represent 16% of you anyway. And so the next year the AMA did announce that they had lost 12,000 doctors in their membership, and the reason is because the AMA is trying to keep their name in the game on this thing, because they own the CPT code. So every time someone on Medicare goes in for a procedure, the AMA gets paid a piece of it. So people need to know that. So that's the kind of advocacy that I've done in my life, and I think we need that kind of fighter spirit in Congress right now.
Back to your campaign, you staked out, you were the first in the race, and then a whole passel said, well, I'm getting in too. How do you explain that, rather than lining up behind Cherilyn Eagar?
Well, you know, this is a free country, and anybody can get into races that choose to do so, and they do for different reasons, and it's all great and good. I'm still at the top of the pack. You know, we know it's a race between me and one other right now, and maybe a third.
Measure?
By what measure? Because we certainly track it, and we poll it, and we know where people stand. And of course, in this delegate season between now and the convention, there is an undecided. But we have the opportunity to turn that undecided, and we have a good plan to do it.
What is your plan for the country? What are your 3 or 4 top priorities, legislative priorities, that you would work on?
Well, we have some principles that we have to adhere to in Congress. We have to have limited government, and we have to have some personal accountability to balance the budget. And we also have to have a public virtue about what we're doing, to do what's right for the greater good of people. And we've kind of lost sight of that. The entitlements are an example. When you have 53% of Medicaid now going to teenage unwed moms and 90% of single moms getting some kind of welfare, you know that we need to get back to some of Ronald Reagan's great principles of work fair, which means work for what you get if you are able-bodied. So those are some things that we really need to turn around in this Congress.
Cherilyn Eagar, pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
We'll track your candidacy along with that of many others in the 2nd Congressional District as we move into conventions and perhaps primaries, and we'll see how that plays out.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you for being here.